Hello and good morning. Let's talk about this right here. This is a circle. Remember opposite, opposite, square root. So we're going to do the opposite, opposite, square root. Okay? So if you look here, the center, it looks like it's over 2 up 0. So the center is 2 and 0. So the opposite would be a negative 2 on this one. We don't want that. We want a positive 2. So opposite, opposite. Well, the opposite of this one is going to be a positive 2, and then 0 for this one. And then the radius, so let's see, this one right here. This one right here is a minus, so we don't want that one. So we want to go with this one right here. That would be it. And the square root of 16 gives you 4. So if you count, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the one we want. Okay, look at this one right here. It says write an equation of a circle with radius 3. Remember, it's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals radius squared. Write down that formula and memorize it. This is your h, this is your k. So it's going to be x minus 3 quantity squared, y minus 0 quantity squared, and then the radius squared. 3 times 3 is 9. So we're looking for something on this one here. So at this point, let's see what we have. Okay, so apparently we have to do FOIL on this. Okay, so it's going to be x minus 3, x minus 3, so it's x times x is x squared. X times that's negative 3x. This is a negative 3x. This is a positive 9. That gives you x squared minus 6x plus 9 equals 9. Okay? And we left off our y squared here. So we have to do plus the y squared. Okay, so we're going to add that plus y squared here. Now we're going to subtract 9 from both sides, so the 9's cancel, and you're going to get equals 0. So you're going to get x squared plus y squared is equal, or minus 6x, right here, equals 0. And that's the one we want here. So let's see what choice it is. That's going to be choice A. Okay, so we had to plug it into the formula, and then we had to do FOIL. Let's try the next one. It says, determine whether that point lies on circle. Well, let's see here. The center and the radius. So we're going to say x minus the x, or h, hk. So x minus the x, basically, squared, plus y minus the y squared equals the radius squared. Okay, so now let's plug in this and see if we get 16. So we want to see if this point lies in there. So we're going to plug in the 6. We're going to plug in the y. And we're going to see if we get 16. We get 9. 3 squared is 9. 8 minus 3, 3 squared is 9. Okay? That gives you 18, and 18 does not equal 16, so the answer is no. Okay, that's how you work that one. Let me slide it up and actually make it a little smaller. Okay, and a little darker. Okay, so you got to use your formula, and then you plug in your x and y and see if they're equal. All right, let's keep moving. Number 6. They give you an equation, and they give you that point, and it says it lies on the circle. What is the radius? Okay? So there's the point. So it's going to be, your x is here, so that's 4 minus 1 And then this is your y, so that's 7. Now you're looking for the radius. So 4 minus 1 is 3, and 3 squared is 9. 7 minus 3 is 4, and 4 squared is 16 equals radius squared. So the radius is going to be the square root of 25, which equals 5. And that's how you do that one. Okay? All right, this one right here says, what is the equation of the circle with diameter, and those are the endpoints? Okay, so let's think about this a minute. You have a diameter, right? So the diameter is over 1 up 3. And this one is negative 1, or negative 3 up 1. Okay? So what you want to do is find the midpoint. So this is negative 3 up 1. This one is over 1 up 3. So we want to find the midpoint there. Okay? So we want to add up the x's and divide by 2. So it's 1 plus a negative 3 divided by 2. And then this one is going to be add up the y's. So it's 3 plus 1 divided by 2. So it's going to be 4 divided by 2. So the midpoint here is going to be 2 for that one. And this one's going to be negative 2 divided by 2. And that's negative 1. So that's actually the center of the circle is the midpoint. Okay, so add up the x's, divide by 2. Add up the y's, divide by 2. So now that we have that, we know the center of the circle. So the center of the circle here is going to be negative 1 up 2. Negative 1 up 2. So we're looking for one that gives us a negative 1. So the opposite, 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 that's good. And then here, all three of these give us a 2. So we got to figure out the radius. The radius is the distance from here to here. Okay, so we've got to do the distance formula. Remember, it's x minus x, quantity squared, and y minus y, quantity squared. So it's going to be 1 minus a negative 3. And then this one is going to be 3 minus 1. So that's going to become a plus. So that's 4 squared, that's 16. And then this right here is going to be 2 squared, which is 4. Okay, so that's going to be the square root of 20. Square root of 20 is what we're going to get there. And so, let me think here. So the radius so this is going to be 4 times 5. The square root of 4 is 2, so it's going to be 2 square root of 5 is going to be the radius. Okay, the distance is there. And so now we want to go ahead and divide by 2. 2's canceled. So we get the radius equals, or radius squared is equal to 5. So the square root of 5 squared is equal to 5. So what we want is this one right here, C. Okay? So let's just recap. We took the 2 points, we found the midpoint, then we did the distance formula here to figure out the radius. Okay? And there it is. Put a star by that one, you might want to come back and take a look at it. All right, let's keep moving. This one right here, it says select all points that are going to work here. And the answers are here for those two. Okay, the lines are parallel. And you figure, well, what do we have to do here? So A to B, So if you do the slope up here, you figure out the slope of this one. It's going to be y minus y over x minus x. So it's going to be b minus b over x minus x. So this is going to be c minus a minus that a. This cancels. So you get 0 over c for that one. So you get the slope is equal to 0. So the slope on this one is equal to 0. Then you got to do the slope of this bottom one to find out what's going on here. So it's going to be y minus y, so it's 0 minus 0, and then c minus 0. And that gives you 0 over c. So here the slopes are both 0, so that makes this line parallel to that line. So we know that. And then you can do the distance formula from here to here to show that this is equal to this. All right, let's keep moving. On this one right here, it says, what type of triangle is it? All right, so what you got to do is figure out the distances. So you have a point here, which is over 1 up 19. Let's see how that works. Over 1 up 19, we'll just say right there. And then we have negative 8 up 8, or rather down 8, which is here. So this one is point D. This one is point F. And this other point here is over 16 rather, and then down 1. So over 16 is somewhere over here, and then down 1. Okay, and that's point E. So what you want to do is figure out the distance from here to here, from here to here, and from here to here. So you're going to have to do the distance formula 3 times. Okay? So let's see, point F, let's mark that down, is negative 8, negative 8. Okay? And point E, which is 16, and then down 1. So you got to do the distance formula 3 times. If you want to get this one right, you got to do the distance formula 3 times. These problems are a little harder here. Okay? Let me raise this up a little bit. So you got to go 1, your x is 1 minus a negative 8, and then 19 minus a negative 8. And you got to work that out. Then you got to go here. You got to do your x's 1 minus 16 and 19 minus a negative 1. And then you got to go with these two. So it's going to be a negative 8 minus 16 and then a negative 8 minus 1 minus a negative. You got to work those out. And when you do, you're going to see that this one, or one of these, is going to be the 16 minus the 1. This one is going to be the square root of 625 when you work it out. And then EF, which is this bottom one here, EF is going to be the square root of 625. And then this other one is going to be the square root of 810. So if you do the distance formula, you'll see that 2 sides are equal. So this side is equal to that one. So it's actually an isosceles triangle. So you got to do the distance formula 3 times. All right, let's keep moving. Number 3. This one right here, I'd graph it. And when you graph it, you're going to go negative 1 up 0, over 1 up 6, over 5 up 6, and then over 5 up 2. Okay, so you got your figure like that. Then what you have to do is your distance formula. And when you do the distance formula here, you're going to see that, that it's a quadrilateral. It's not a trapezoid because the sides would have to be parallel to be a trapezoid, and parallel for a parallelogram. And a kite, you know, a kite is going to look something like this. Okay, so this one is just a planar quadrilateral, but you actually have to do the distance formula. So you got to do the distance from here to here once, the distance from here to here, the distance from here to here, and the distance from here to here. So you got to do the distance formula 4 times on that one. All right, this last one here, I'm just going to give you the answer here. The answer is right here, and I'm going to show you her work, and we're going to end it right there. All right, have a good morning.